Conventions can be defined as a set of practices and standards that are considered norm and are widely accepted as a way of performing certain activities. Everything that we do in our daily life has its own way and methods through which they are performed. Just like this, film has its own codes and conventions. In easy words, codes are the signs and the symbol which have potential for different meaning, whereas conventions are the arrangement which become habitual, accepted, and set standards in the society. Every genre has its own codes and conventions which makes it different from one another. For our opening sequence, we combine two genres together, one mystery and the other thriller. As I just said, everything has its own codes and conventions, including the opening sequence, but it is not at all necessary to use everything at once. They can be adjusted accordingly to the storyline and framework. The conventions we used from our opening sequence are shown on the screens, as you can see. From the first genre, we decided to pick the following codes and conventions, which include the basic codes and conventions such as protagonist, antagonist, atmosphere, foreshadowing, and the narrative momentum. Lastly, from the second genre, we used the following codes and conventions, which include low-key lighting, tense music, quick cuts, and change in the angle of shots. The combination of these three different conventions gave us the perfect opening sequence that we wanted. Now let's talk about the conventions that we challenged. Firstly, from the opening sequence we skipped narrator. It is because we wanted to keep our audience on the edge of their seats by not disclosing any information via verbal communication and by using music and background sounds for suspenseful storytelling. Secondly, we did not use any flashback since we did not want it to focus on main lead's past, but to focus on his present situation in which he currently is. After this comes the red herring. We skipped this because we didn't want it to give away the entire motive of the film to the audience straight away. The last convention that we skipped from our opening sequence was Trail of Clues, as we had to manage our time and not give any further ideas to the viewers to create suspense in the story. Now let's talk about our social issue, which is neglectful parenting. The main aim and goal of this project was to highlight the issue of neglectful parenting and create awareness about the potential danger a child could be in when they are left alone. Moreover, the reason why we challenged the social issue is because we wanted our opening sequence to have its own storyline, not just the social issue being the main. So after this, we decided to pick something that's not the main thing shown in the opening sequence but still has a huge effect in one's life. After which, I gave the proposal of the social issue neglectful parenting, which was the perfect match with our storyline. After research on this topic, we found out the sheer impact it had on children, as every 1 in 7 child has faced child neglection, due to which many children lack social skill and have issues with emotional bonding with other people. The product opening sequence essentially represents the social issue of child neglect and how inability of providing proper care and love by adults while raising children can result in the worst case scenario. Our product uses the conventions on how proper care and supervision provided by adults are just superficial expectations and that the reality of childcare is much grimmer. The sequence follows on how a lonesome boy stumbles upon an abandoned van in the depth of the forest and not knowing what his internal curiosity will cause him.